Ladies and gentlemen, GE2025 is coming, and today I want to share with you my view about GE2025. I just want to say this. Today is probably the only video that I allow anyone who don't like my comments to scold me. I'll accept it. And anyone who agrees with me to further affirm my comments. And let's go on with the video. And my views will be very, very uh, thought-provoking. And more importantly is that I also add a very important announcement on the magic formula and algo trading. So let's watch on, shall we? Now, today I'll cover something more unusual because I haven't been talking about anything other than Trump and investments and stock market and things like that for at least 2 weeks or so, because that has been the flavor of that last 2 3 weeks. But today I want to take a little break from that and cover my very extreme view on 2025 GE. And I also want to do a bit of light touch on the magic formula and some algo trading strategies, which a lot of people has been expressing they are interested. Yes, it's a very powerful stock market money making strategy. I'll do a very light touch and I'll make some announcement when I'm going to deep dive, and more importantly, how I do it. Okay, so let's watch on, shall we? So usual disclaimer, the things I say these are for education entertainment, not financial advice to tell buy or sell. So just to start off, a short announcement on magic formula and algo trading. So a lot of people ask me, Mr. Lu, what is a magic formula and what is this algo trading investment? I'll give you a light touch of it. Algo trading basically is based on a set of predetermined formula, and usually it's mathematical. And sometimes it's quite sophisticated and sometimes it's not very sophisticated. And one of the simplest algo investment strategy that was picked is called a magic formula. And I'll explain to you what a magic formula is. It has been around for 20, 30 years already, very long. And it still work, despite it being a powerful formula, because today the world of stock market right now, I think 70, 80% are all driven by machines. They set a fixed formula inside, and the machine will drive the stock trading. But that kind of things are very sophisticated for retail investors like us. So I thought I want to share something that I've been doing for the past many years, and that's called the magic formula. And the returns has been quite substantial. Okay, and I want to share with you by giving you a flavor first. So many of you want to find out the magic formula. I'll just share with you the returns that it gave. So between July 2003 to December 2015, the magic formula returned a annualized 11.4%, versus the S&P 500 8.7%. So you can see the graph goes this way and this way, right? So it clearly outperformed the benchmark index by quite a lot. Okay, and it's pretty decent. Which graph you look at or whatsoever, generally all will agree that it outperformed S&P 500, and there are some claims that that it can even go as high as 30% or something like that. I think that's probably over pushing it, but certainly everybody agree. Now this magic formula means it's basically based on a set of mathematical principles and things like that, and it's not that difficult to understand. And today with AI, it's even easier to work it out. So given that this is quite sophisticated compared to the things I have shared, for those people who are interested, I'll run a live stream on it so that there can be Q&A, ask questions, things like that. Probably this week. I haven't decided when because this week is extremely busy. Probably you'll be on the later part of this week. And unfortunately, when I run a live stream, only subscribers are notified by YouTube. So please subscribe. I unfortunately will not be keeping the video. So when I run the live stream, only people who watch it live will get to enjoy it. Okay. And there are reasons why I cannot keep it. And it's probably difficult to explain. Okay. But I will just do a live stream on it. So remember, hit subscribe so that everybody will get notified. So let's go on to my discussion on G2025, shall we? So G2025 for Singapore has not been announced yet, right? So there are of course strong hints. The electoral boundaries are now redrawn and things like that. It has not been announced which day is it. Everybody is betting. I think the talk of town is betting somewhere in May. It's almost, my humble opinion, a very high probability it will be in May. May when, I don't know. So it has not been announced, but it is as good as it's been announced really because of this following reason. So number one, the EBRC Electoral Boundaries Review Committee has already announced where the new boundaries and things like that. And there are extensive changes to the electoral boundaries due to population shifts. There are only five GRC and four SMC were left intact. So the number of constituency now stands at 33, a lot more. And there'll be 97 elected members of parliament, up from 93, and so on. So this has been announced already, and I think it simply means that it's coming. There are lots of news right now talking about new candidates coming out, and new candidates are not just coming out of the PAP, but also from non-PAP parties as well. And I'll just give you some faces. I don't know them at all, okay? But just to give you some flavor. And of course, there are some big news on certain swings of major candidates, right? So this SDP Chi Shun Juan now, instead of Bukit Batok, now will contest in Sembawang West SMC. And that's a very big announcement. So SDP Professor Paul Tambia is also now actively going out. And we have got former non-profit CEO Haslina Abu Halim, okay, now walking around at Marine Parade with Manpower Minister in a walk around as well. And we've got new faces, Valerie Lee, joining 5 MPs at Pasir Ris event, okay, and so on. So they'll be expecting a fierce fight in some places. Pongo GRC will be having a big fight, and that's largely because it is new, young, and suddenly beside of a fierce fight. And for Singapore, I would think with the older electorate, basically will generally favor the ruling party, and the younger ones may have a different opinion. So for Pongo, represents Singapore heartland with a younger audience, so younger population. So I think there will be a tough fight there. Some new faces. The WP has Harpreet Singh. He's a senior counsel, so someone with got Liao Wan here. Okay, so it's widely regarded as WP is a star catch. Okay, and of course, we see a lot of walkarounds right now, and it's a very active, exciting scene. I just want to give you my opinion, and I know it'll be very infuriating for some and very supportive for some. I'll just say this, and I want to give you all a very thought provocative view. Okay, so number one is 2024, we have seen and I've said before, was a historical year in global elections and a very bad one for those in power. And the trend is unmistakable. Almost all the world's industrialized country, in many developing countries too, the government votes decrease, right? So the ruling party votes have decreased, and sometimes significantly. And in that year, which is last year, it was quite significant, and many incumbents totally lost. Those who have maintained their positions have lost a lot of vote shares. So we have got clearly Vice President Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump, and that's why the whole world right now is one big chaos. And that is just one data point. Many countries, from India to Austria, Botswana to South Korea, Britain to Uruguay, everything remains constant. So now that all the votes has been cast and tallied, the trend is unmistakable. In almost all the world's industrialized countries, government vote shares have decreased. I think this is clearly a unmistakable scenario that I think our country will face as well. And why is it so? Right, that's largely because of there is a one major trend is because of the pandemic. The pandemic has basically hit supply chain, hiked prices, And once prices go up, you will never come down. And at the same time, inflation was fueled by many governments across the world, pumping and printing money and cause of severe inflation globally. And as a result, a lot of people are unhappy. When they're unhappy, you cannot go and vote this Jerome Powell, which is the Federal Reserve Chairman, down, right? You go and hit whoever you can hit. So a lot of governments just get hit and slapped. So whether it's not fair or not, what Jerome Powell and the rest of the central bank uh, chief have done, is hitting all the government. Note now, most central bank are independent of the government. Still, the government get hit, right? The world is unfair. Just let me say this like a broken gramophone again. Inflation is a global phenomenon, okay? And I've seen it and you have seen it. Most of you are well-traveled. Prices across the whole world has increased and increased substantially. Don't need to look too far. Singapore, of course, has increased. You go to JB, you go to KL, prices have increased phenomenally as well. They are crying murder more than we do, okay? And I travel widely to Europe. Every single Europe country I have seen prices gone up phenomenally. Just this month itself, I travel so many countries. They're all for work. So before you all start finger pointing as if I'm enjoying life and things like that, I travel from Singapore to Italy, Italy to France, France to Portugal, Portugal to some other, I can't remember, Portugal back to France and so on. So many countries, all the prices have gone up. I'm shocked by some of the prices as well. It's a global phenomenon. Now, but most Singaporeans will not, just like most citizens, will not accept it. They will not say, "Oh, sorry, global, so what?" It's always the government fault. Anything is the government fault. I trip and fall is the government fault, right? Everything is the government fault, and that's how people cast their votes globally. And I understand, okay, it is a common phenomenon. So when I say this, GE 2025 will be a GE of cost of living, and I think most people will agree with me. Okay. So everybody, whether, WP, SDP, everyone will take the chance and shoot at of course our PAP for allowing cost of living to go out of control, blah blah blah, and of course our PAP will try to explain exactly what I said and things like that, and then there'll be a fight over this topic. My take is this: I think most Singaporeans are wise enough to know that even if the the government was made up of our opposition party, they wouldn't have done any better. It's a global phenomenon. What could they have done to make it better, right? So I think most of the people on the other side of the fence just want to cast a vote of anger, okay? Or just want to bring in more opposition voice to control government, just to vent their anger. And I think this is a understandable phenomena. I see that happening in many countries. I was exactly there when the ruling party of UK lost their GE and things like that. So I can understand. Well, truth be told, I think our government has actually done a lot by throwing a ton of vouchers. Actually, I understand why they're doing it. I'm actually worried that they do too much of it. Most of the countries don't do that, right? The government leave their citizens to hang and dry and die. Our country government throw a ton of vouchers. The vouchers are so much that I lost track of the vouchers, right? You get CDC vouchers, Comcare assistance scheme will be brought in to help lower income families. There are also up to $760 in U-Save rebates to cope with utilities. Life SG credit will be given to families for each children age 12 and below. And there are EduSave top-ups. Singapore allowance will be increased from this to this and things like that. That it's just a lot now, okay? Have anybody used because this one you cannot use calculator, use a spreadsheet to calculate out what this amount is in total. I think someone attempted to do it is some big number and things like that. But you know what? I want to say this, and I think most of you agree with me. Singaporeans are very good with academic mathematics. Across the world, Singapore mathematics is deemed number one. Number one. I think Singaporeans are poor in microeconomics, okay? And I'm not saying it as an insult. Let me say this, and you will understand what I mean by that. No one will compare, okay, how much the increase in prices, the impact of it to their monthly expenditure, and compare that with vouchers that were given and see whether which one is high, which one is lower. Let me say again, just very clear. Do you know how much your cost of living has gone up by every month and compared to how much vouchers were given, and you see whether, which side is high, which side is lower? We agak-agak have a feeling, that kind of thing, right? But it's so difficult to calculate. I'm good in mathematics, I'm good in microeconomics. I also don't know which side is higher. Okay. So intuitively, I think that, it really depends on what I eat, what I spend, whatsoever. But I think that my guess is that the vouchers are actually very good and can offset almost all, if not even more than the price increase, depending on what kind of things you spend on. But you know what? Nobody do these kind of calculations. Everybody wants the voucher, but nobody will go and compute how much a cost of living increased by. Okay, they just want prices to come down from its current level and also want the vouchers. Most of us like that. I also like that. Okay, so as a result, I think it's an unfortunate thing. So I think there is a comms problem here, and there is also an issue with this. So I'm not so sure whether the vouchers given people really appreciate it, to heart. I think I appreciate it, okay, but I also don't know which one is higher because I never go and use a spreadsheet and calculate. I want to say this, and a lot of people will understand this. If you have been watching my video and you are level-headed, I just want to say this. Whatever has happened in the past is really gone. The price have increased already. Okay. The government has done what they can. Some of it, they've done a lot. Some of it not up to your standard. Some of it up to your standard. But whatever it is, that problem is a backward-looking problem already. GE2025 should not be about venting your anger. It's not about looking back and giving a KPI review and deciding it with your with who you pick. GE2025 should be one that we look at what are the problems and challenges that are coming and pick the best fighter that can fight these challenges. Because the one that we are facing right now, the problem is much bigger than price increase. You don't believe me? I'm going to explain to you. This man is going to be the biggest problem for Singapore, and he's going to be around for at least 4 years. Okay. And he has raised hell for a majority of the world, and those hell are coming to Singapore. Okay. I'll explain to you. No, I say just Google it. Everyone say this. Okay. The top global watchers, economists will all say this. Southeast Asia will be challenged by Trump 2.0. It will be a problem for Singapore and Southeast Asia as a whole. Just to highlight a few challenges that are coming, I think everybody who has been watching what's happening in the world, not necessarily watching just what I said, world trade will be hurt. It's already being hurt, right? Tariffs are all going up. People are cutting down all the trades and things like that. Singapore, who depends on trade, our trade is 3 times our GDP, is hurt. Okay, yeah. So we will be hurt by this world trade problem. Trump is against China. One of our biggest trading partner is China. Okay, and Singapore will be forced to choose sides. And Singapore livelihood also depend on China to a large extent. So what makes you think that Singapore will be spared? So the other one important thing is that you may not realize this, but US has always been a protector of peace in our region. Singapore hosts a lot of military vessels from US, and we are welcoming US as a protector of this area. US no longer want to play this role. You want them to play this role, pay, right? Donald Trump is no longer going to play that role. Therefore, there will be a power vacuum. This power vacuum, when created, will have someone rushing to fill it up. Who would that be? Okay, who would that be? Is that new powerhouse that fill up the gap, going to be friendly or not friendly in Singapore? I don't know, right? And Singapore needs to navigate through all this. We are a very, very small country, Our voice is not very loud in the world. So the last thing I want to say is that we are a very rich country. Everybody knows that. You may not be rich, but the country is very rich. Not just, not just, not just Singaporeans know that. Donald Trump knows that. Donald Trump will be green eye and try to extract a pound of flesh from Singapore, given our enormous wealth. We are one of the top investors in US. You may not know that. So Trump knows that by right, yes, he's supposed to be friendly to US, but he's a jealous man when it comes to wealth, right? Whenever he sees opportunity, he will extract. So these are some of the challenges, and these are no longer hot air challenges, meaning that you could not. These are already here. These are already here. These are real problems. And we are still muddling with cost of living, all this kind of thing. These things will hurt you. Let me say this, many of us are angry with the cost of living issue. I understand. Everyone in the world is. I understand. But the world today faces another challenge. I think most of us will realize this. The challenges that is coming require very, very solid government who are good in not just governing, but able to sail through this thing and not put us in a position that we can be weakened. We have faced enormous challenges are coming. Your wealth, your CPF, your job, your property prices, your stock prices in Singapore are all dependent on how we navigate through these challenges. You weaken our government, they can't navigate through this impact, and all of us will be hit. So who would you vote for, right? Who you vote for will determine the outcome of this. A lot of people say, Mr. Lu, you're so pro PAP, you're so pro, but I'm not, kind of thing. Well, I am, for one simple reason, I'm just a wealth-conscious Singaporean. I seek to maximize my wealth positions. I want to choose a leader that will protect the wealth and the well-being of myself and my family, my children. Who would you pick? You want to pick one that will weaken your wealth positions? We're all talking about dollars and cents here, real dollars and cents. You want to pick one that weaken yourself? Okay. Again, right? These are all my views. A lot of y'all will be against this view. A lot of y'all be for this view. I allow y'all to vent it, and please write them down in my YouTube comments. Okay, I'll hear them out. Vent it through. I understand. So my position is very clear. What about yours? What about yours? Right? Are you backward looking or forward looking? Take a position. So just to wrap up, okay, a live stream will be run. Anyone wants to find out about the magic formula and the algo investment, I give you this. I think this is from the book itself, right? It says from 1988 to 2004, the magic formula returns 33%, and the S&P 500 returns about 14%, the market average about 15%. I think it's very interesting. I've been on this formula for quite some time. Happy to share with you how to do it. Remember, only subscribers will be notified when I do the live stream. So please hit subscribe. So see you at my Magic Formula live stream. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye-bye.